Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Ask Dr. Bob. And we had a lot of questions this week. I'm going to do my very best to answer each and every one of them. But someone asked me about, they wanted to go ADHD free during the summertime. They don't want to be on the medication anymore. And so what do you do? Well, they've studied the Feingold or the Feingold diet. And the Feingold diet was about chemicals and preservatives and additives. And this is what I've learned, and I talk about this in Dr. Bob's Guide to Stop ADHD in 18 Days. There's a fat in your brain called DHA. The reason that Dr. Feingold's helped some people was because the food additives interfered with the production of DHA. But we take it a step further in the book because we have found that trans fat really interrupts DHA, and it has a long half-life. That means if you were to take and have a pastry today that was cooked or fried in partially hydrogenated oils, the negative effect will be there for 51 days. That's the half-life. But then there's another 51 days, which is 102 days, and it continues on. So whomever asked that question, for all those that have ADHD issues, the summertime is a great time to go drug-free. I know that I mentioned ADHD free, it's medication free, and it's just a super opportunity. I would get Dr. Bob's Guide to Stop ADHD in 18 days. It'll make a huge difference. Dr. Bob, I want to know about the recent breast cancer issues. What would you suggest? You know, I plan on writing a program about that so everybody will have an idea. There's about 3 or 4 items I would like you to think about. Number one, vitamin D helps a term called apoptosis. Apoptosis is limited cell life. I take 6,000 units of vitamin D every day. See, cancer cells will grow unchecked. Vitamin D helps stop that. Iodine helps stop that. It's called apoptosis. I would encourage you to have your vitamin D tested. You could also have your urine iodine tested. Here's the next thought. You could actually have your urine estrogen tested. The reason is there's 2 types of estrogen in urine. There's the number 2 and the number 16. Without going into all the details of that, the number 2 is considered the good estrogen, the number 16 is the bad estrogen. If you have lots of number 16, the company, the lab we use, always suggests eating green food. So I'm going to tell you right now, I would start eating green foods. Finally, you want to make sure you're taking oil, essential fatty acids like flax oil. Those oils help your hormonal system to function optimally. 95% of all breast cancer is due to too much estrogen. You want to have your estrogen tested, take some D, take some iodine, have it tested first. Go on some type of liver supplement because the liver helps process the estrogen. Someone asked, what are the best skin foods? The best skin foods are foods that help promote liver function. Dr. Bob's ABCs, a half a red apple every day, 1/3 cup of beet fiber, 1 medium carrot. Skin does not like yeast. So I've had patients with yeast and gluten have major health problems because wheat and soy, which is common with the yeast, take zinc out of the body. If you have large facial pores, could be lack of zinc. Pumpkin seeds, Celtic sea salt, but Dr. Bob's ABCs, half a red apple every day, 1/3 cup of beet, 1 medium carrot. Eat some kale. Kale is a great source of chlorophyll. Here's a very interesting one. Dr. Bob, I was diagnosed with epilepsy and I experienced a lot of twitching and pain in my legs and arms. What type of food should I be eating? Well, a friend of mine is Dr. David Brownstein, and he's written several books, and one of his books was on salt. And we just had somebody else ask us information about that as a young child that having seizures. And Dr. David talks about seizures being caused by a lack of minerals. I agree with him because we've had people, seizures be reduced, but also NutraSweet aspartame, from the research that we have done, can also cause seizures. And it's possible, when we've seen people with parasites have seizures also. There's a blood test you can do called an eosinophil count. And there's actually a lab that will do testing on you to see if you have parasites in your body. Seizures are very serious. We had people lose their driver's license because of not being able to drive because of seizures. We had a gentleman who is a basketball coach for kids, and he wanted to know about protein shakes and nutrition bars. Here's what I'm going to suggest. Look at the ingredients. You don't want gluten, rye, wheat, oat, and barley. These kids could start having allergies because of protein shakes that oftentimes have ingredients in them, including sucralose and sugar, lots of chemicals. Look at the ingredients. I would much rather have them have almond butter on an apple with Celtic sea salt. I do not prefer sports drinks. I would get some pure water, put a liquid multiple mineral in it, or a multiple vitamin. They do sell liquid vitamins that are multiple mineral, and Celtic sea salt is awesome. You want minerals in these kids. This is the last question, and we have next week's health tip. Dr. Bob, Memorial Day is coming. Do you have a secret recipe you want to share? And I'm going to tell you, it's very simple. Chicken burgers. You can go online and watch me make chicken meatballs, but I'm going to give you the secret for chicken burgers right now. I use ground thigh and breast combination. You make the patties, bake them in the oven for about 20 minutes so they get firm and hard. Because if you put chicken on the grill immediately, it crumbles compared to other products. So I started baking them in the oven so they're kind of firm. And I do apologize, I forgot to talk to you about what we're going to talk about this week. And it was protein. Sources of protein. Now, kale's the new beef. Vegetables have protein in them. We actually use a product in our office called pumpkin protein. So I want you to do a Google search on protein and vegetables. You know, a lot of times people will use beans and legumes, and if you're going to use beans and legumes, soak them in water. I actually use chicken, lamb, turkey, almond butter, eggs for my source of protein. I eat those items every day, and I have absolutely normal cholesterol. Next week, we're going to talk about healthy summer sun tips. Thank you so much for watching us and passing this information on. We want to do whatever we can to make a difference in your life. I'll talk to you next week.